This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and call to order here. Cassie, can I have the roll?
Rutherford.
Here.
Mo.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Costello.
Here.
LeVire.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Luther.
Here.
Mearstein.
Here.
Can I have somebody motion to approve the agenda?
So. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? And then we need to approve the meeting minutes from both the March 2nd and the April 6th meeting.
I would move approval of those minutes.
Second. Is there any corrections?
Nobody had any corrections to them, so I guess all opposed? All in approval?
Yes.
There we go. See if you're awake. Everybody's awake today.
That's why I got the coffee.
Yep. Couple things that I have coming back to you. We did some interviews. We're looking at hiring a full-time person from the city to help out down at the Marina. So we did interviews on Monday and Tuesday, and we got some a good candidate, so we're in the process of looking at that. The fish cleaning station, we got it open. There was some confusion there because we didn't take the boards off. If you guys are talking to people out there, we have the boards on just to try to keep everything from freezing for the next little bit.
Freezing fishermen.
Well, freezing fishermen, I'm more worried about freezing water. Fishermen can put on a coat. My water system doesn't do real well with ice right now, so hopefully here in the next couple of weeks we get some better temperatures here and we can actually pull the windows off of it so people are less confused and me and Ed don't get phone calls after phone calls from people.
I think, yeah, I'll make a little comment. I put the open sign on the outside. But now after I responded on Facebook, I don't think anybody's up there. Because I told them if they were so lazy, they could walk over there and check the door.
Other than that, that's I think all I had right now on that. Moving on to our business. I went through the other day and kind of looked through the corrective action plan that we have going on. I don't know if you guys had a chance to review that or not. Anybody have any questions on that?
Are there any significant items there? The ground plan?
Only a few. Only a few big ones. Yeah.
No, it was on, I think it was on.
Oh, what Pratt did? Yeah,
Pratt went
that was
through.
great. It was awesome.
Got that cleaned up. We started pulling out some of the trees and shrubs that are on there that shouldn't be there. Got the shed down behind there.
Saw that.
The guys got in there yesterday and got the landscaping done over there. We got the rest of the docks taken care of today, finally. Things like that. If anybody had any other comments on that right now. Thunder Bay Electric has been working on the lights. They were out again on Prentice Street this morning.
Wow.
They went down there. They said that they're on 2 separate photo cells and they wondered if that was the issue, but I was there at 5:30 and they were still not working. So I don't know. They're working on it though. One thing they did comment on is we need to try to get some of the boats out of the way for them. I don't know how far out we are on that, Rich.
Just one at a time, if they are ready to go in and have the dock to go.
Okay. And that's right now, some of the big lights in the parking lot, we can't get to Thunder Bay Electric can't get to because of the boats. So until we get the boats out of the way, some of those lights are gonna continue to be out.
But the other lights are on,
Which lights?
Apprentice or whatever.
the short ones.
The brown ones
Yeah.
on Prentice were out this morning again. They had been on until this morning.
Are
When I was
those going
there.
to be replaced or what? Yeah.
I have money in the budget, if the budget goes all the way through, to replace some of them. But it's, if they're all out at one time, that's a circuit issue.
Mhm.
And we gotta sort that out, because even if I replace the poles, it's not going to fix it. So we gotta figure out where the circuit issue is there. As far as that. And then on top of it, I found out that the pedestals, the newer pedestals on transient docks and the floating seasonal docks are no longer made, so we're gonna have to work around that here over the next little bit, trying to figure out how to get parts and stuff for those. We can't get parts anymore. I was told point blank, we can't get parts. So we're probably gonna end up having to see what we can repair there and what we can't repair. We're probably,
How much is a pedestal?
I have not checked on new ones yet. I was more discouraged the other day.
They're expensive. They're not much, doesn't look like there's much to them, so.
There's a lot in them.
Yeah,
I don't think that much.
I wanna say there were $1,000 to $2,000 in
Yeah.
there.
1,500 is what I,
You see
So-
1,500. I kind of looked at some of them, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000, depending on what.
That's probably the standard. So I think Presque over 2.
Mhm.
Do we
Wow.
have an inventory of, or evaluation of what is working and what's not working?
No. We do not have that inventory of, and some of the items still to be completed on
So,
the action plan.
yeah, we'll consider that soon, so we can get whatever replaced that we need to.
And
Yeah,
then,
are they physically broken or is it components inside that just don't work?
well, and that's to be evaluated yet. That's one of the things we need to evaluate, because I know we've had some online reviews that said that people would pull into a slip and then the power wasn't working or the water wasn't working or whatever. So it's a matter of going through them. I'm hoping that we can kind of, if we replace and we keep that one for parts, and it can be used to
Mhm.
Frankenstein another one back together. So it's not like we gotta go through and change all the ones that are broke. We'll replace a few and use those then for parts for the others.
Makes sense.
Okay, then I got a comment since I'm up on the blocks on the ground and a number of us are, and a bunch of other people. No water's been turned on anywhere to run any power, any power washing or anything. I mean, you get a bucket of water. So that's gonna bring a slow halt to everything too. So,
And I agree,
I mean, I don't know if that had to do anything with the freezing, but I didn't think the water line should freeze this time of the year, but, there's no water whatsoever there, so.
yeah, the ones out on the docks I haven't yet. I was basing it off of every time it freezes out on my road project right now. And we still haven't managed a day where we haven't had to unscrew some of these hoses and get the hose
I didn't know if you took that into consideration as when the boat should be in water too, so.
right.
Because, I mean, that's brought a screeching halt to everybody.
And that's, if we could, it would not freeze overnight, we would have it on already.
I mean, we can't do anything about the weather, so.
Right. And that's, we're taking everything into consideration as we're doing things, but
You're just looking at the weather and determining that, or?
yeah, I mean, it froze again last night.
Yeah, it's supposed to freeze tonight, so.
It froze last night, it's supposed to freeze tonight.
The next.
And
Okay.
then, I keep looking at the 10-day forecast. The latest I want to leave it is next Friday. As far as the water being not on. There's ways we can get around it, but if stuff freezes apart, you're gonna be right like we are on the other side on the floating docks there, where we've got a busted water system and no water, and then it's not potable, and then it's not. So
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to err on the side of caution.
No, I'm just curious. That's,
Yeah. That's what basing everything off of. Yeah. Any other questions on
Did
critical
you get any
use?
potable water in any of the systems? Any of the water systems with the dock?
Transient is potable, is my understanding, and so is the parking lot side is seasonal.
This one,
The parking lot side is seasonal dockage. The fixed docks are potable,
Like a yacht club?
not the yacht club side.
Oh,
The parking lot side of the fixed docks, the parking lot side of seasonal.
has water?
That was my understanding.
No, no
Okay.
water there.
There's no water there?
No, not by my boat. I turned it on.
No, she's not saying that there's water there, it's potable. Saying
It's drinkable.
Oh,
you can drink it.
no, there's no.
It's not on. Not on yet.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, sorry.
When they turn it on, you
Okay,
can't
I'm
drink,
good.
you're on the outside, you can sit.
Okay, all right, okay, drinkable.
Yes,
I'm
it's drinkable
worried
once I have it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once I have it turned on, then it's drinkable.
I just want to scrub something.
And as far as the remainder, correct me if I'm wrong, that's still in the budget.
Yes. Yeah, club side is in the budget for this summer to get changed out, so it is drinkable, not again, potable again.
Okay.
That's, yeah, the rest of it, my understanding is potable. The way the system is, it's pressurized and everything else, so
That's good.
it's just the yacht club side that doesn't have drinkable water right now, and it's in the budget to get it, so. Any other questions?
Just one comment, Shannon, with no water at the transient, no pump,
Okay.
because the pump out uses water.
Okay. And like I said, I would turn it on tomorrow. It's set, it's ready. The water is up to the hydrants. All we gotta do is flip the valves inside and it'll be out there. I just gotta be above freezing so we can do it. Anything else on critical issues? Okay, moving on. Marina Master Plan. A meeting on Monday with Eric and Nico from NEMCOG. And we went over the Marina grounds. We walked through it, just looking at things. They kind of did an inventory of things. We were looking for information there. And went over everything with that. Met with Rich out there, kind of went over how operations work. And everything there. Eric is here joining us tonight from NEMCOG in order to kind of talk about the master plan. In your packet, there was a set of questions that we developed for the survey. Did you guys get a chance to look at those?
Mhm.
Everything makes sense in those? Okay. Eric's gonna go ahead and go over kind of some of this with us. If you wanna go ahead, Eric.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Muted Eric, I think.
It's just not coming through.
It's not coming through. Steve, why is it not coming through?
There he is.
There's Steve on cue. Wine Steve shows.
All right, can you hear me? No.
Alright.
If it's not back, you might have to.
Try that again.
Back in.
Try it again, Eric.
Try again, Eric.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Best laid plans.
And just says a virtual thing, I can do it. So first.
See if Anne can say something.
Can you guys hear me? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
No, so we can't hear her right now.
No.
Okay.
It's definitely our
Okay.
issue. Try now. Try now, Eric.
Can you hear me?
Yep, there we go.
All right, good. All right, so as Shannon said, we met on Tuesday and did a walkthrough. So we had spent a couple hours there, and we, between Rich and Shannon and Nico and I think there were some reoccurring themes that came up. One of them being maintenance and improvements, and the third one being marketing. That's just kind of in broad terms. My goal is with these questions and the answer to these questions and having some public hearings on this to get some input as well will help narrow down those three overarching ideas and goals. So I don't know if anybody had any additional questions that they would like to see on there.
One thing we did talk about is actually breaking the marina into parts as far as the survey was concerned. Basically highlighting different areas on like a Google Maps or something like that, putting it up there and saying, what improvements would you like to see in this area? And then list those amenities so that we could get an area by area idea of what improvements you guys might see. There's always the option for what we consider an other, and then you can fill in things that are not on that list. So people from outside the committee could have other ideas, so they could actually put those into there for us to have an idea on.
With the areas, sorry, Eric,
Our thought was
considered like the marina, transient, parks,
Yes.
that kind of division, or just like marina and park?
No, we would actually, when we did it, we would break down sections of the marina. We
Okay.
talked about even like breaking down where the screening wall is, and is there any improvements, or do you think this area needs any improvements? And then go to the transient docks and do the same thing. Go to the courtesy docks, do the same thing. Kind of break the marina down around like that. Go to seasonal and do that.
Eric, this is Rachel Szymanski. I'm looking at number 3. What are the ages of you and your family members? I think that's going to be really hard to answer. You know, you might want to break that out either to you or family members, because you're going to have different ages there. So unless you intend them to circle more than one on that answer, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the intent, to have them check, you know, if they have a family of 6 or 8, kind of the age brackets that they fall in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just breaking that out a little bit might be good. I don't know what the format of this is, if it's going to be electronic and paper, or one or the other. But that might be easier to do when you actually put the survey into some type of electronic format.
Okay. Do you think it would be best to break it out with the age of the people that would, say, rent the slip, and then any family members that visit, so you would kind of get an idea of the people that are using it and may necessarily own the boat to their family member or friends that are visiting?
I think for me, I would say it depends, I guess, what you're wanting your data to reflect, but I'd say like knowing the average age of your boat owners that are using the slips, like would probably be very helpful from to have that its own category. And I guess in terms, or my understanding, if we're asking like how old are the people that are visiting the slip, I don't know what that data would show. I guess which ones to me is more important, who owns the boat and who's using it, or how old their family is, unless you're trying to look at it from a park perspective of, you know, we have a lot of people that are young families and such. Are there certain amenities that would appeal to that demographic more, but I'm not sure if the marina is quite that spot versus like the park area. If that makes sense. I don't know if anyone else has any kind of thoughts for that.
I mean, I think it's important to know that the users of the marina, you know, if you're, what type of user you are. And then you have visitors too. So it could be two different things. And I've done a lot of surveys. I used to do a lot of them for my community and economic development nonprofit. So I guess for me, I would like to see how this breaks out electronically when you put it into that format. And I apologize, but I haven't had a whole lot of time to review this. So at least, you know, initially that's what I see is I feel like it has to be, you know, you might have a different survey for your users of the marina, like your boat slips, your visitors, and then maybe, you know, family of each.
Have we ever done that before with surveys to anybody that's visiting for seasonal dock usage or like overnight? Have we ever done any kind of survey, like how was your stay? Do you have recommendations?
We've done 3 or 4 with the Charter Boat Association, through Michigan State over the years. That's what I was gonna say, if there's gonna be permanent charter guys down there, that's gonna change this. I mean, I don't know, you know, I don't know if we should be, you know, I don't know if I'm staying all year or not all year, but there's some guys that are gonna stay there now. So I don't know how that would be included, because that's gonna skew a lot of stuff if you got, I would think, as far as visitors. I don't know how you would add that in there. I guess if they're there for charter for that day, or if they're there permanently, because the boats are gonna be there permanently.
Right.
So I don't know if you wanna, you know, if you want us to get separate surveys. What we used to do was do, like every 5th group show up, we hand them a survey, rather than every group, because I think, I mean, you know, at that time, we were running, you know, I was running over 100 trips a year, so I mean, guys from, but anyways, that's what I was gonna get at. I don't know if that should go. And then I probably missed something on April 6th, but what's the park? The park's over where the kiddie park and that stuff is, or the whole marina's gonna be? I had a call asking if they're making the whole marina a park.
And that was, he called me too,
Maybe,
I think, from Steelheaders.
Yeah.
He called me too and asked me that question. He's like, we heard that you're gonna close the marina and open a park. And I'm like, no.
well, you know how rumors are.
And
That's exactly my response was like.
You know, and that's what I told him. I said, are you gonna see more, you know, amenities and features and stuff like that, which would make you think it's a park? Possibly. I said, but no, the marina's there to stay as far as we're concerned right now. So, is there a way possibly, Eric, for us to put a question in there? How do you use the marina? And then have charter or a charter boat, a seasonal slip person, and have that where they can check multiple things.
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility. I can definitely add that in. My thought was to try and get an age of not only of different age brackets. So when it comes to marketing and promotional material, not just for locals, but for people that may be out of county or out of state, if that occurs, you can market things around your demographics. So if you're doing movies in the park and your age bracket of owners and family, you have a lot of younger families coming in, that's something you can recognize by splitting those demographics and having those age groups kind of divided.
So again, I think this is 2 different surveys for local users and visitors. I just don't see any way of getting around that, you know, because the questions are a bit different. And also, what's the method of getting this out? You know,
So
is it going to be in person or?
We are going to plan to use SurveyMonkey to start this process, but we're more than willing to work with you in any format that you want to continue to distribute that information. So whether we want to have it at you guys want it, available at the harbor or the city marina. If you guys want to have an input meeting, a charrette on that, I'm more than willing to work with you guys on that.
Survey Monkey to who?
Yeah.
Right, I mean,
I guess that was my question.
I mean, you're gonna have to do multiple different, or multiple ways with this, so some people are gonna like to fill out paper copies and you can hand it to them, and maybe there's a place in the office that they can come in and put that in. Some people, maybe you hand them the information and there's a link to the survey, or, a QR code or something like that.
Like a visitor, somebody comes in. So this is, what's the completion here? What are you thinking? When would you expect this to be done?
So I'm expecting to have all these questions into SurveyMonkey by next week.
I mean, collecting the information? They have
So about 30 to 60 days, because that's what's needed for other communities to review master plans as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the intent to plan needs to be mailed out to local municipalities, utility companies, and all that 63 days in advance. So 30 to 60 days to gather information for the surveys.
Don't we want to hit some of our summer visitors though, because that's missing out on July and August, and those are the busiest times.
Are you talking about people that are visiting or people that are coming up here for summer? Okay.
Visitor, summer, you have it available down at Brownfro, things
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, I think your marina users, your regular marina users, you can hit at this time of the year, and then maybe launch the visitor survey a little bit later.
Otherwise, we get no value out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've already surveyed us, basically.
Try to set it up for July and August, then advertise it on the radio, newspapers
Yep.
that we're looking for.
Yeah, and we do that, we put out a press release of it, we do have this survey that's gonna be available, and we would like it filled out. I'd like to see it down at Brownfro, just because we do have a pretty significant amount of people coming in,
Influx.
an influx of people coming into the marina.
Hey, I said, Rich, do you have, Sherry, you guys have email addresses of people who visited here? Is that information, nothing like that?
I mean, it can be on our website or, our Facebook. There are multiple ways we could get it out, but also, and I'm sorry, I have a lot of opinions about surveys, but what worked well in the past is our incentives too. Maybe a giveaway.
Are there any race layovers here? Any what? Race layovers?
For here on the Mac, this is usually a layover for that sailboat race. And that's, but I mean, we literally will probably get like, what, 3-4 boats if that. I mean, last year I probably only saw about 2 or 3 that came from that, and those are return crews. Those aren't even the owners usually.
Is there a way to just try to tap those people though that?
I mean, I guess with the survey, we could try to, I mean, just a suggestion, we could try to reach out to the different race organizers or different, like, I don't know, yacht clubs, reach out to the Athena Yacht Club, and if they have any connections with other locations or other organizations, and try to see if they're willing to share it too. I know the group that used to race from Canada to here, I know they don't do it anymore, but I don't know if they were an existing club and still are, or if they no longer are, because we used to have a relatively strong connection with the Canadian sailing group too, or boating group too, but I don't know how to put it up.
Or you're.
No, that's a separate deal. It's always been separate. And that was ended in the 90s. No, he's talking about the double-handed race goes.
Double-handed goes around.
We're here in Ryder City.
That's still.
Yeah.
And then do we reach out for some from the Walleye Club from that?
I already talked
Side
to
of it.
steelheaders about getting the survey information to them so that they could start filling it out. Still waiting for, I need to get in contact with the Walleye Club and some of them. Just trying to get it pushed out to everybody we can, you know, it's not like we're just gonna put it out there and say, hey, fill out our survey, we're gonna push it, because 100 people answering it is okay, but we need more than that. I need more information than that to help you guys make decisions with me. I think everybody understands that. The more people we can push it to, the more you guys are pushing it for us, you know, putting it up at the yacht club or whatever, getting it out, you know, getting it to the charter boat captains so that they can get their people who are coming on charters to fill it out. That kind of stuff is what's gonna push it out further and further and further, you know. I can put it in the paper and put it in the radio and everything else, but until we have people that actually help us push it out, it's really not going to get us the information we need. And that's, I know Steelheader said that they would definitely make certain their members get it and then put it out to other people to do also. So the more we can, as a group here, push that information out to all of our channels, the better off we are.
This isn't the survey really twofold. One, to give us information regarding what we want to do with Marina.
Right.
But two, also, isn't this document going to be used for potential funding sources
I'm
as
gonna
well?
use it as,
So based on that, it has to be a certain criteria to make it a worthwhile document
So
for that?
the marina is in the recreation plan. So you can, that's what we use to apply for the DMR grants.
Mhm.
And this is more of a more specialized plan that we can use to support that.
right, and that's when we're sitting there and they're always, do you have any public support for this? Or do you know, that's all the things towards us as we're sitting there with all these survey results showing that we want a new picnic area or whatever it is, docks or whatever it is that we're asking for. If they're seeing that on that survey, you know, we had 2,000 people answer the survey and 1,500 of them wanted new docks. They obviously have the support for it and they're gonna get used, as opposed to 6 people saying they want docks out of 100 people that took the survey or whatever.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's.
to kind of touch on that too, the Parks and Rec plan did have a handful of questions in it, and that was just redone and adopted for the city marina. It did have some questions on it, and reading through those questions, one of the reoccurring themes was maintenance, just overall maintenance. So
That, and part of this, hopefully we can use, is the rec plan that we have will not satisfy waterways rec plan requirements. So we're gonna need to be able to basically write another rec plan that's gonna be appended to our existing rec plan to basically be able to fill out these grants. If that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, that sounds neat.
Okay. And again, this is kind of the first step, getting these surveys ready, getting them ready to go out the door. Getting to the point where, like we said, June, July, August, they're out there for the visitors to see. Probably a good idea to put 2 different ones out there. We'll get one out to the users. The users are here right now. You guys know what you want down there, or see down there. Getting another one out to the visitors is probably a good idea.
And one of the things I think, you know, with the improvements that are already being made, I think that ought to be very public. I think you should publicize that, pictures or something in the media from the standpoint of showing what's already happening. I mean, it's kind of fun to see the changes that are already occurring. It's been asleep for a few years. So I think any improvements can be worth telling the story.
Okay.
I don't know how you do it. But every time something nice happens,
Well, and it could be just as much as you guys out there with
Right,
your
you
own
do that.
personal social media sending out pictures for us.
And, well, Rich, we haven't had any boat groups in, I mean, you know, cruising clubs, have we had any? Did we have one last year?
Yeah, Great Lakes Cruising.
Right, and then you used to have the Sea Ray group, you know.
All
I
of
don't
them.
know if they've ever been.
All the major manufacturers, when times were good,
Sure.
you know, there was a
Well, I don't know
manufacturer.
if they knew that. We used to get all sorts of, you know, we got cruising clubs.
Like Tierra would put on a meeting and they would.
They have
the
it here.
Marina.
Or Sea Ray, or, you know, or Great Lakes Cruising, I mean, and then the sailors were the same way, I mean, they were different groups. But the other thing that the state has now that last year was that they actually picked one of the cruising groups that come and stay for 2 weeks at a marina and actually did the maintenance at the marina. They planted, I mean, they were Presqu'île last year, the group. The ladies, there was like 3 boats and they actually got free dockies, but they planted flowers. I mean, they did, you know, and they met the people and served them coffee and, you know, everything else. That was through the DNR. The DNR has a program with it. So I don't know what it's called, but
I'll talk to Lene about it.
yeah, somebody would know.
The waterways survey, or did they survey our marina in the past year or
They,
two? And
they're-
what did they, I guess I'd be curious as to what the shortcomings they have. I don't know if I ever saw the document.
I read through the document and I was still trying to figure out what great information we got out of that document. Honestly, you know, I was looking at it going, okay, you know.
Okay.
Alpena has a marina, okay.
So-
Awesome. And that was, I mean, honestly, we had that survey on there forever, you know, put this and go to the survey or whatever. And I finally, after chasing it around for 2 weeks, when I had a few minutes here and there, found it. And basically, that was what I got out of it, was Alpena has a marina. And this is how many slips was in it and things like that. I really didn't get or garner anything else from that information. One thing I forgot from my Harbor Master's report is the DNR is going to fly over the marina with their drones this summer. Later in July when there's boats and stuff happening, so hoping to get some good pictures of the marina that we can use for marketing promotional.
Great.
I mean, as far as promoting, you know, what's going on with the marina, once we're ready to do this, and I mean, even, we could even take some of the stuff that we have now and put it out on our Facebook. I mean, we're still relatively, we still have a relatively new Facebook page for the city, so we're still getting that, or getting more likes and such on that, so we get a little more recognition on those posts. But we could do that to start with. Hopefully, maybe the Alpena News would want to do a story on it or something, and maybe we coordinate that with the launch of the survey.
Okay.
Yeah, good idea. On the lifestyles page, and it might be interesting. You could focus on, launch the survey and say some of the improvements we've done already. That'd be a great story.
It's planned.
And then, like Eric said, at some point in time, we're gonna have, they call them a charrette, where you just kind of get together and casually talk about, once we kind of get the survey information back, or maybe as we're going through the surveys, just because we're gonna push them further into the summer. Sit down with basically a great big map of the marina, and we throw them out on the tables and pens, and people just say, you know, I want a picnic table here. And stuff like that. So we'll have those kind of meetings also. You guys will be pretty involved in those meetings when we do them. And then pretty much every meeting here that we have from here on out is probably gonna have stuff for the master plan that we need to go over. I know Don right now is looking for history for us. At the beginning of these, they do a little blurb, basically 2 paragraphs that kind of explains the history of the marina. You know, these lumber yards to begin with or whatever, you know, just kind of stuff like that. Don's helping me find some stuff on that. Other than that, is there any other questions for Eric?
Eric, this is Don. I got a question for just kind of some of the potential questions that would be included in the survey. Question number 5 and 6 basically along the lines of, would you be opposed to marketing outside of this area? Is the intent of that to find out if people don't want to market it outside of Alpena? Because when that, I guess I'm not sure I understand why those questions would be in there, or if there was a specific purpose.
Yeah, so it'd just be a good gauge for your local residents and your local users to just kind of gauge how they feel about it. And then for people that aren't local as well, so you would get kind of both sides, whether they're transient slips. So you might have people that might be out of county. So it's kind of good to know that, and good to know that they would like to see that, outside of Alpena.
So is it more along the lines of question 4, where it's a recommendation, or purely just spreading the good word out?
It's more of like advertisement, marketing, and spreading the word out instead of like word of mouth. Would they like to see, advertisements in, do they think that would be helpful?
That kind of goes back to the last meeting we talked about, are there spots that we're missing advertising? This is kind of that stuff, do people think we need to advertise in spots that are actually using the marina? Any other questions for Eric on the master plan?
Oh, real quick, for promotion though, we're gonna have a budget for the advertising? Is that gonna exist at some point, or that'd be the plan to have that exist?
Right in this budget right now that we're dealing with, I don't have a whole lot of money set up for advertising to start with. Doesn't mean that in future budgets, I'm not going to ask for it.
Yeah, we sort of a plan for it either, so I mean, it's,
Correct.
yeah, it's just not ready, but yeah,
Right.
the idea would be to put something in there.
Right. Eventually, the goal would be to look at how we would start to advertise this and everything else, where we're gonna advertise it, and that's just that beginning start of, I don't know where to advertise, because you can put it in the Alpena News and it's gonna do me zero good, because everybody in Alpena knows what the marina is and where it's at, and they're gonna use it. I need to find out where those spots are that you advertise, so that, the lady and gentleman that were here the other day, they just kind of stumbled upon us, it feels like, Stephanie, when they were in with that bigger boat, and I don't know how they found us. I still don't know how she found us, other than she Googled us.
Mhm.
And that's, that's part of it, is we're actually getting the Google set up so that when you're Googling Alpena, the marina pops up towards the top of things.
It'd be nice if it interacted with the Marine Sanctuary, and I mean, so you can go back and forth. Everybody's kind of advertising, telling the same story.
Exactly, and that's where I'm trying to get those connections made here with all these outsourced groups, chamber with Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm trying to make those connections so that we are all kind of promoting one another as we're working to get there. Because we're all kind of interconnected, and the more interconnected we are, the better off we're gonna be, because when you're coming into the Marine Sanctuary, maybe you wanna come in your boat now, if you know that you can get on it and float around or wherever it is, and cruise it up here and stay for a few days. The marina is a nice spot to be, so.
Everybody's looking for something to do and a place to go with the mission, with your boat.
Yeah,
Other than, from the charter guys, you want to find the fish, to the people who go up the lake for something to do.
right.
Yeah.
And that's, the couple the other day where they're trying to get from Port Huron to Castle, and, they came to Alpena, so that's nice, the more that we can get people in here, the more people that we're going to have here, and hopefully they come here and enjoy it and tell their friends and family. Because I think that's probably going to be our biggest advertisement is, hey, I went to Alpena, it was a great time. That's going to get us further, I think, than anything.
I just kind of want to add to that too, because it goes off a discussion that I had with Shannon and Rich and Nico. And marketing isn't just marketing outwards. I think too, one thing to think about is who we really are. It's called the City Marina Master Plan. We're called the Alpena Harbor Advisory. Nico said he called it the Small Boat Harbor when he was younger and in the area. I call it the Alpena Harbor. There's so many names that people throw out there. To have one that's consistent and maybe brings that all together might be something you guys want to discuss as well.
Anything else on the master plan?
So one more question. So is part of the master plan going to be potentially branding, like Eric just mentioned?
We did discuss that the other day during that meeting, that is probably one of the big things that we need to look at as far as the Marina is concerned, is almost doing a branding plan or a marketing plan or something like that, so that we kind of get everything focused and together and how we want to present it out to the public and everything else. We talk about it being an extension of the downtown and all of these things. And we need to kind of get that all pulled together into one package for everybody and everything.
What about the Visitors Bureau? After we went through all this, are they in tune with? Because I know they used to get, motels get 6% gives for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I don't know if they're still doing that, but actually I was vice president of that at one time. But there's money available for people that are staying. I don't know if they should be involved. Are they involved in this too, or not? Or are they separate?
I have yet to be able to get a hold of them. It's one of those things I have had limited time, and I apologize for that, but I am trying to reach out to
So
those outside.
they haven't.
Are they back
That
in?
troubles me that they're not, I'm not saying that to you.
Because we better out, Al and I better out forever, and that should be one of the first things that they should be involved in,
And that, I think that we gotta put some pressure on. There's some reluctance, and I sense some reluctance.
From them, or?
Yeah.
Okay, like I
Slow
said,
response exists.
okay, I will have a conversation. I'll set up a meeting with them.
I mean, part of this whole process is getting the stakeholders involved that need to be, and not only getting them involved, but just identifying them. So, if the Visitors Bureau is someone that hasn't normally been involved, we've been in strange times here, so it might be harder to get a hold of people. So I think we'll give them the opportunity to get involved and
But
hopefully.
they typically have kind of acted independent. That doesn't work for them.
Gotcha.
I think there's a greater advantage in getting on a team.
And that's how it started. Actually, we shouldn't be doing any of this. It should be the Convention and Visitors Bureau, because that's, if we go way back, not way back, but, you give me about Keith Kruger, but right after Keith Kruger, the Convention and Visitors Bureau was running all the promotion of the Marina, and, we were going to all the sports shows and, all the camping shows and everything else promoting the Marina. Not the city wasn't, that was part of the budget.
Okay.
So
Well,
it was a six, that's what I'm saying, it was a 6% gives there that they were getting by every visitor that was here. Now, I don't know what, maybe that was by the wayside.
That's how they're funded.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I didn't know if it's still, that was a pretty good chunk.
It's a partnership,
Yeah.
it's on
I
them
mean,
and, right, so, I think we can all work together to do that.
There
Now, I don't know how this Visitors Bureau operates, but, it could be a potential funding source as well. Because I know, over on the west side, there were, opportunities for funding through that organization for, improvements, honestly, or events.
That's what it is.
I think a big part of that, like you said, is just that partnership. I know once we kind of have a better idea with the survey and the direction we're going, is talking to our partners, like you said, like the chamber and especially the CBB and the DEA, and try to use their the people that are looking at them in their spheres and using that as a component as well. but, until we can get that kind of communication, like I know, wherever you look, there's not a lot of boating advertisement going out that shows Alpena. You look up Alpena, there's not a ton of boating. Some of it's fishing, but definitely once we get the survey and we have a better understanding where we're moving forward and what kind of marketing we look at, then that would make sense to go to the partners and go, hey, this is what we're trying to do, and what do you think you can do for us? Because I have to imagine no one wants to be a wall in that case, and I know in the CVB's case, I think some of them have had their hours reduced, so probably had to do the same amount of work for less time. So yeah, so I think definitely once we get the survey and a better understanding what's the future and how we're going to move forward, then.
And I think a lot of it is that we're, just trying to get things going, and some of the big first steps are, let's get the marina cleaned up, let's get things back in order, let's get that stuff done, let's get us to the point where when somebody comes in here, they're looking around going, man, this is a great spot to be. And then we start working on this other stuff. Does it mean that we're sitting there stagnant while that's going on? No, we're working with those partners on the back side of it, but I think our big push right now is just to get everything kind of going and moving again. Anything else on the master plan?
One thing with the naming, so I just pulled up the DNR's website to reserve a slip. And, my first thought was, oh, Alpena's not the first one.
Yes.
It's not on there.
Yes.
But it's because it's City of Alpena. And I mean, one good thing we have for us is we start with an A, so we should be at the top of every list.
Rich pointed that out to us the other day, that it's not under Alpena, because that's where I would go look for it too. So that's something I'm going to try to work on, trying to figure out how to get us listed better.
I think like Northport's, it's technically not called Northport Marina, but they put Northport Harbor dash, and then it's like some guy's name.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do something like
Well,
that.
I'm
even.
hoping they'll put Alpena Marina so that we're at the top of the list.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Mhm.
I'm gonna talk to Lene about that, trying to figure out with her how to get that relisted so that we're showing up a little bit better, because as you're going up that coast looking, Alpena sticks out, not, as much City of Alpena, but on the map, Alpena sticks out. So let's get it listed in such a way that hopefully it shows up better for everybody.
Shannon, keep thinking of Alpena Harbor, Presqu'île Harbor, Charlevoix Harbor, Oshkosh Harbor, Harbor implies that you're gonna go there, everything is there.
Okay.
And so just from what we've seen traveling around and talking to people, the Great Lakes cruising are gonna be here this summer after brown trout.
Okay.
But they're just on their way to a rendezvous in Macron, the island.
Okay.
So we got them a day.
You know what? I'll take one day. I'll take one day to get them here and have them take a look around. Hopefully they enjoy themselves, and maybe on their way home, they stop back for
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, I like it. Cities. Football city, but yeah.
You guys like Alpena Harbor? Yeah. That's something we'll start on.
A warm and friendly port.
Yeah, right.
He's got, we're on all the weather maps, national, international maps and everything. I mean, the name's out there.
That's only my mom knows where I'm at,
Take advantage of it.
It's huge. I'll tell you someday how we got. I did know the warm and friendly port. I know how.
Now we have to be a sanctuary, guys. Yeah.
I had that executives on the board.
Yes.
That's the only dilemma.
Anything else on this?
Nope.
Okay, and you want to talk about fresh waves?
Let me unmute myself,
Okay.
my face. Yeah, so Shannon included in the packet the request to officially utilize that grassy space near the parking lot area for our installation for this year. So the DDA, this is the third year of our project, and we're hoping to have up to 8 of these freestanding structures fabricated and install in that little area. With all the efforts going on to beautify the marina, we were really excited to hopefully tap into that and contribute in this way as well. We just released our artist applications that will be due May 25th. And if, the committee approves it, and then if this needs to be approved by city council as well, we're hoping to correlate the painting of these panels with the Brown Trout Festival, since one of our committee members talked to them and they were excited about us being so close to their location and tying in with that as well. So once we get our artist applications sorted out, that's also something, Shannon, if you want to see which artist our committee is looking at using, any artist has to submit up to 4 potential mock-ups. So with those freestanding structures, they would be 4 feet by 8 feet with 2 posts on each side that would just need to be planted into the ground. We have Meridian Contracting that provided the quote for us to do that work that would be done early July. So that we could correlate with the end of July for the Brown Trout Festival. And then based on the artwork that's submitted, we could have, one artist do 1 panel each, or, 2 artists do 2 panels each, just really depending on what type of artwork submitted and what matches well together there. Of course, the DDA would be responsible for any of the maintenance on the panels, and they could be removed if necessary. If they start to degrade or there's other plans for that parking lot area, that's something we really wanted to be flexible with as well. That, they're intended to be permanent and potentially be even repainted in the future, but they could be moved if necessary.
And where's the location?
So the location that we're looking at is right on Harbor Drive. There's the parking lot where the boats are stored, and then there's a grassy, small thoroughfare right between the sidewalk and that parking lot. So that when people walk by, they would be able to see them. And then the structures would have a panel on each side too. So you could see it from that parking lot, and then you could see it from sidewalk.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we know, yeah. We were laughing, that's where the park came in, and not being smart.
But they are intended to be permanent. And
That's a new state.
they're intended to be
That's a
permanent.
state park, that's a spot.
Yeah.
And there was a question about whether or not they would be permanent. And I think you said yes.
Yeah, we'd intend for them to be permanent, but they could be moved if necessary down the road. The
intention is to make them permanent.
Correct.
Now, okay.
Would there be, each panel, is the idea to have artwork on one side or both sides? Or, because I see in the rendering, it's almost like they're alternating. Are they supposed to be all facing towards the parking lot? Or are they supposed to be alternating between towards the parking lot and towards the street?
So each structure would have a panel on both sides.
Okay.
But the structure, so there'd be one here, one would be next to it but slightly set back, and then the other one would be, so they're kind of staggered zigzag, but each panel would have 2 sides on it. And then based on what artwork is submitted, we would decide, do we want the same artist to paint both sides, or have, one artist do each side, just based on what we get. And we have in our budget up to do 8 of these structures. That's quite a long stretch of grass area, so it would not cover that whole area. But again, depending on what artist applications we receive, we'd like to do at minimum 4 structures, but up to 8 if we get enough artwork that we really love and kind of works together there.
Thank you.
Is there not something going on relative to the Centerbury Arch or something, the sculptures that are going up around town? Is there not one planned in and around the marina also?
I believe there's the concrete footings down. There's going to be put one up over by the yacht club.
That's okay. That's what I'm thinking about.
And are you at all concerned about damage to those? Because I'm not sure if people try and walk through there and what might happen during brown trout.
We've talked about, our committee's talked about the graffiti element, but honestly, we've only had one instance with our other murals, and that was easily removed with paint thinner. Thank you, Jason Luther, for suggesting that, because the type of paint wasn't the same quality as what an artist would use. So we've talked briefly about that if something like that would happen, but it really has not been an issue with our other murals. And then, since they'd be planted in the ground, hopefully there wouldn't be an issue. And I believe with the Brown Trout Festival, they usually put like a temporary, I believe, if I remember correctly, like a temporary fencing there or like in the lot to demarcate it.
Plus supposedly they got security with it.
Yeah, that was one thing we did talk about yesterday. The security is kind of by that gate, so hopefully that would help deter it. I had a little concern over that too, but then I remember they run that orange fence up along that edge, so hopefully that takes care of that problem.
Yeah, and I think also like, just from my point of view, if the artists are doing this during brown trout, which seems to be my understanding, like I feel like people are gonna be watching that happen, and there's enough public around that area that if someone's doing something they shouldn't be, that it would probably kibosh pretty quick, I would think. But
my concern was when the big tent closed, that would be when you would see your graffiti and your artists probably aren't out there when the big tent closes at midnight or whatever. That was my only concern, so.
There's usually so much.
Don't they have security 24 hours during?
Yeah. And
Somebody's at the
usually
gate.
then that's when, police are there.
Right, yeah, that's pretty well.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't
the
stop
other,
it all.
I guess the other positive thing is they've had those banners out, past, the last 3 or 4 years, they put banners all along where they've done like past winners and all that kind of stuff. And, I don't think there's been any mustaches, going on. Well, what I'm saying, there's no graffiti.
Right.
Yeah.
Or shot or anything else.
It's not a real problem. I don't know if that would be.
Well, I know, but that's the same,
I
but
would
that's the
say
same
there
area.
would- there would be more danger after the brown trout than
Yes.
during.
Yeah.
I like this idea. I'm just trying to bring up all the potential issues. So how do you all feel about the view? And, whether or not that would block anything? And there will also be, you have to weed whack around them, I'm assuming, along the bottom. And what are the bases like so they don't get damaged?
yeah, I think in terms of view, it's not gonna hurt it.
Yeah,
So,
but
but
it's save a lot, doesn't look.
Yeah. Yeah, so-
I mean, maybe improve.
yeah, maybe a little bit, but, yeah, I guess the maintenance, I mean, and is the foundation structure, I'm assuming, is some kind of wood 4x4 or something like that, or is it more of a metal?
Yeah, it's like a wooden like signboard material. And I could request from Meridian as well for maintenance to have the panels like slightly lifted so they're not like flush with the ground, if that makes sense. So there could be, it could be a foot off the ground, so the total structure would be 5 foot, but the panel would only be 4 foot. If that would be something that would be easy or make it easier to like mow or weed whack around them.
Yeah, because I guess if the panel was made out of a wood material, something like that, and it was close to the ground, I would be worried about water damage seeping up. But I don't know what Todd or you were planning in terms of material type, if that was gonna be more like a plastic material or what exactly.
It was getting nicked too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't snow in the winter time. It's gotta be at least a couple feet off the ground. It's not buried in the snow.
Oh, I was thinking salt more than snow.
I think
both, yeah.
The biggest risk is I could see it, I could just see me back
I
out my
think it's
boat.
yeah, I was thinking that too.
So that's what I see. I don't know how far or off the park. Huh? Absolutely. Well, maybe if I do it at night, we'll see.
You know, a good insurance guy?
I kind of do. No, but I think that, that would be, one aspect, if they're uptight against the curb on the inside. And what do you think of that, Rich? I guess that's the only thing I can think of.
We'd have to go over the sidewalk.
Well, if boats hang over, they hang over.
The Meridian is a boating group. They go to the island and do work. They're a great asset for practical stuff. Those boys are just very good at what they do.
So you don't think it'd be encumbered that?
She's well on her way to make it so the weed whacker doesn't cut the pole down over the years. So you got room for snow to be blown in that direction up high. All those things are good. So you're fine. You're on the right track. You got the right people.
All right. Sounds great. It sounds like a great idea to me.
Yeah.
And the location is good too. It's a nice spot. It's kind of a dead area, so that would be good.
Yep.
So Shannon has, Ken talked about putting one at the head pier to direct traffic from
the dock when they come off so they don't go to the dumpster behind the fish station?
No, have not, because that was one of the discussions we had the other day, was blocking that view. I'm gonna put shrubs along there,
Okay.
so
I
that we
just-
don't have problem.
The very first thing they see when they come on is that collage of a premier print that every voter, when they walk to the bathroom, would see twice.
Right.
And so I just proposed that to you as a group, that you wanted first impressions. Here's town right at the head here. I'll go look at it. And so,
And that's, that's some of it is, I'm gonna fix kind of that view of the dumpster. I talked to Brown Trout already yesterday about picking their stuff up and getting the dumpster back where it belongs.
but people will walk right straight towards town, right
Yeah.
through those trees and
Yep.
wind up in the back to save a lot in the VA.
Yep, and that's what we're, I'm hoping that we can get, kind of, that's part of what I'm hoping we can develop as part of the master plan too, is a walkway that brings them kind of down where this art is gonna be, so that when you get there, you're gonna wanna walk down it, and that'll put you out onto that road going down Chisholm Street to see things there.
And that is our thought too with these structures is, the last 2 years we've done walls, and next year we're not sure if we're going to do walls, but we definitely want to see how these structures go over, and that could be something, are there other areas in the boat harbor area that could benefit from something like this, even if it's just a few, or other areas throughout the downtown that we want to promote more foot traffic to. So we're definitely open to, seeing how this year goes with these structures. And if we find issues with them, we might return to doing walls again, or if, they're really easily maintained, the snow removal is not a problem, we definitely would love to see this develop, or maybe there's other areas, either in the marina or outside of it, where we could install more, kind of as a destination. So.
Anything else for Ann? Time for comments, public comments.
We want to get an official recommendation, since this would need to go.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just to make it official.
Okay. I am looking for a motion to support the, Fresh Wave.
Make a motion.
I'll support it.
Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
You better vote
Yeah, I gotta go.
That's why I said it so fast.
I was gonna give them the option to. You seem to have spoke up in support of, so.
That got him blushing, Steve.
Gotta love it.
Okay, that motion carries, and we'll write a recommendation to go with that when it goes to council. Yeah.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it,
Yes. You're welcome.
especially Dad.
Okay, public comment? How about member comment?
I did want to say, I did reach out, I was at a NOAA staff meeting this week, and I reached out to Jeff Gray, and he had talked about he had made contact, he expressed interest in coming to one of the meetings. He said he didn't know if he was going to be able to come today, which looks like it wasn't. So he said he would try to make it next month, but since I know Al was saying about partnerships and such with the sanctuary, I know that he had expressed some interest given their involvement with the harbor. So hopefully he'll make the next one. I just want to let everyone know he was looking out for it.
Any other member comment?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll support that one too.
I don't have to worry about anybody.
Any opposed?
I get another one at 6 o'clock.
Not a problem. Next meeting will be June 2nd, which is Thursday again.
Sounds great.
This will be our normal meeting day.
Just get it wide, the Wednesday, boys, they won't let us have it.
Second is a Wednesday.
It's a Thursday.
Wednesdays are bad.
We can't have it on Wednesday?
No. You said second. Third is the Thursday.
Yeah, that's what it says on my paper.
Yeah.
But I left it when I said that.
Yes.
You went early, did a good job.
Everybody thought they did.
So Shannon, if we want to
Around the walls.
put a tent up for
Well, yeah. But they're all.